This is just a few questions from Chicago. I'm Marc Sims, your host, and I have Naimah Latif on the phone line from Chicago. How you doing, Naimah?
I am fantastic. And how are you?
Naimah, I see you on TV. It's TV. It's like TV for me on the internet, Facebook, early in the morning, and I see your videos from time to time. But I want to ask for our listeners, what is your core message? Your core messages when you present.
Well, I understand that the earth is going through a transformation, and we have the power right now to plan a new world if we can see things differently. So, my goal is to be among those who are helping to raise global consciousness. Uh, Back in 2012, I was inspired to start a radio program. We started out with, I believe, uh, 1 day a week, and then 5 days a week, a half hour, and then it went to an hour, and then it went to 2 hours, and then I gathered a team of other forward-thinking women who also felt that they had a mission in life, and we began a daily podcast, a daily international podcast, and it was inspired, I guess, and named after a book that I wrote and promoted back in 2008, entitled "The Female Solution."
Yeah, we had a technical problem. You're right. Go back to being on speaker and don't move around. I can hear you better. I heard you better before we started the
Okay,
show. And so
all right.
start back up with the female solution. The female solution.
Yes, The Female Solution, and this was a book that was quite controversial. One of the things, well, my late husband Sultan Abdul Latif, and who wrote the forward of the book, we had a marketing strategy to kind of highlight the most controversial aspect of the book. It's really a book about child rearing and forming healthy families, because I saw too many broken families as I was teaching both in elementary school and high school. I saw that the main thing that was destroying our community was the broken families, and specifically the absence of fathers in the home. So the book, The Female Solution, was geared toward helping us see where the foundation of that was. And that was the breakup of our relationships, because we don't know how to have relationships, because we're still dealing with the trauma of our experience, but also we're reflecting the human um, absence of guidance when it comes to some basic things in male and female relationships. So I used examples from the animal kingdom on how they handle child rearing and mate finding and things like that. And one of the things that I mentioned as a remedy, when you have an abundance of females and a lesser amount of males, then we form family groups where there are many females sharing the strongest male, who takes on the role of then providing protection for the family. That includes the females and the children, and fathering the children and that sort of thing. And it's a role that is given to the strongest male for the purpose of preservation of the species. So, I kind of put in those contexts, and then talked about the marital system of polygyny, multiple wives, and as a way to address the fact that we've been through two world wars and five major wars. So the last 5 generations, there have been an absence of young males who are of child producing age, and we've had a lot of women who have had to form the role of single parent female headed household. And as a result of that and other sociological factors, we lost the capacity and the understanding of how to form a family. So, and pushing that theme, that became quite controversial, especially talking about multiple wives, because you know how people are. First thing to think about is sex. Oh, I don't want no man having another woman, and I don't want a woman having sex with my man, and all that. And I kept trying to explain, it's not about that. It's about survival. This is how animals in the animal kingdom form families to survive. So anyway, the whole theme of the book was about us working together in a partnership, and women working together as a sisterhood to develop the shared kind of mothering that would produce emotionally healthy children. That was the theme. So when we started the radio program, that theme continued with healing the hurt and the trauma that makes us as women not the best uh, mothers that we could be, because we're still in pain from what we experienced from broken families, and we pass that brokenness on to our children. So all of us as hosts of the show, we bring different aspects of that healing, whether it's health and wellness, whether it's personal self-development, whether it's economic development, whether it's child rearing. All of us bring topics and subjects that approach it from the standpoint not male bashing or complaining, but really developing solutions to the problems. And in order for us to be solution oriented, we have to believe and understand that we are responsible for creating the world we want to see, and we have the power to do so. So at the beginning of every show, we talk about the fact we started out with the opening that says we have the power to transform this world. We can end crime, poverty, and violence. All we have to do is one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution. So we start out every show with that opening. And my messages in the morning basically are to reinforce the thought that we are, in fact, living at a time when the earth is going through a transformation. And we as a human family have to go through a transformation in thought and in spirit so that we can create the kind of harmonious society that this was intended to be. And we are the ones who can make that change, particularly as the ones who are raising the next generation of children, who, if we can raise them to think differently, they will then create differently, and we will see manifested the world we want to see.
Naimah Latif, I didn't want to even cut in. You was on a roll. I said, I ain't going to say nothing. You were rolling. So there's no need for me to ask a bunch of questions and chop up and mess up the show. So we end the podcast by saying, and it was great. We'll end the podcast by asking you, how do people find you on the internet so they can see you on radio, whatever you do? How do they find you?
Well, they can go to www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. And we're on 12 noon to 2 p.m. on Saturdays and 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Sundays, and all of that Central Time. And of course, they can always reach me on my website at www.naimahLatif.com. That's www.NAIMAHLATIF. And they can watch our TV shows and listen to our radio shows and order our books. And certainly we would be happy to meet anyone in person, as we do once this coronavirus has run its course.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while. We're gonna be going out there meeting people with the coronavirus like we do with the flu. So I'm gonna send me all that information when we get off the phone. Send me all that information. I'll put it on the bottom of this video, all that information. Absolutely. And I just have to tell you, I can't thank you enough for being on the broadcast.
Well, this is always exciting. I enjoyed all the television shows that you've done over the years in conscious raising. And it's always enjoyable to speak to someone who is visionary. And that's, I believe, all of us who are here are for this purpose of being a part of the transformative nature of what is happening today. And I believe this coronavirus it just sped up the process. And so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing old systems collapsing. Now it's our responsibility to build a new system and not just watch things happen, but to make things happen.